you kind of put yourself in a position where you're going above and beyond work, that's kind of how you see opportunities, because anyone can work in Excel.
Yeah.
And no one really knows who built what file. But what they will remember is what work you did with the people, how you were on the team, if you started something. Hi, y'all. My name is Denasia, and I'm a 22-year-old Type A Black girl from Las Vegas who just moved to New York City last year to work for L'Oreal as a financial analyst.
Hey y'all, my name is Faith, and I'm a 23-year-old Type A Black girl from AZ, living in Denver, working remotely for Cisco as a business analyst.
This season is finally here, and we can't wait to share more about our personal lives, working big girl jobs,
relationships, and life in general as Type A Black girls. Hope you enjoy.
Hi guys, welcome back.
Hi everyone, welcome to the last episode of season 9.
The very last.
Very last.
Yeah, it's been a really good season, guys. Like,
it's been a great season.
You guys will obviously have now seen that we've had like 2 virtual episodes, but for the most part, this entire season was in the studio.
Yeah.
This is our second time filming in the studio, so I feel like we're now comfy on the couch.
Very comfy, yeah.
The girlies are activated. We had some great guests this season.
Yeah, we know where to look.
Yeah. Because the first couple times, we was giving a little cross-eye. We looking at different cameras.
Yeah. It was a literal whole thing. But
now we're veterans.
Before we get into probably one of the most asked, definitely in the free suggestion box episodes that we've ever actually had, and y'all love either the corporate or the dating juicy episodes. Those are your favorites.
Or friendship episodes.
Friendship, the breakup.
Friend breakups.
They love
dating
that one.
And corporate, y'all
eat it up.
Eat it alive. Any other episode, analytics are nowhere near as good as these ones. So.
Nowhere near. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and get straight to classroom announcements.
So first of all, you guys should be checking our Instagram for any updates on the book club. We don't know what book we're in at the moment because right now that's in the future.
Yeah,
so,
we don't know.
Please stay tuned with our GroupMe. We have a book club chat in there where you can stay tuned with any book we choose and when the meeting is going to be. Also, make sure you guys are submitting any questions to the free suggestion box. If you want to submit anonymously, you can also just DM us on the page or our personal pages, and we'll always respond. And a lot of these questions today came from free suggestion bots. So you no longer have to be a Patreon member to get your question answered. So you don't got to worry about that. Because once we said pay them $3, we know there's a lot of questions we're no longer getting submitted.
Zilch.
So we're taking that away. Now you can submit questions for free again. And speaking of Patreon, make sure you guys are paying that $3 if you ever bought a matcha or a coffee.
Or a tea.
Or a hot chocolate for our non-drink. Okay, we covering all bases.
All bases.
Make sure you buy our Patreon.
Yeah. $3.
Yeah, I know you guys are so sick of that. You guys probably fast forward classroom announcements for our girlies that listen every week.
Like, okay, no, we get it. But realistically, like, we have put in so much into this podcast. Like, for y'all, if you've ever received a gem, like, it's good to give back to the girlies that are giving back.
Not give back.
It's good. I mean, they're especially this episode.
Oh, yeah.
The gems we're going to drop and the stuff, like, basically, we're giving you the gems so that you don't have to go through it, because we're really like the big sisters right now.
We're living it. Or if you're our age, like, you can relate to this. Or if you're older than us, you can look back and reminisce.
And be like, oh, I did go through that. You see what I'm saying? Because we do have some aunties that listen.
And since this is our last episode and we will be going on a hiatus until next season, please make sure you guys submit any type of review, either if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. I don't think we've dropped that this season. Please make sure you guys are submitting a review. We need our girlies to support.
Yes.
So if you've ever got a giggle, please make sure to go and do some 5 star or whatever stars you think we deserve, but hopefully 5.
Yeah.
And leave a review.
Yeah, and commenting literally helps the algorithm like crazy. So even commenting on Instagram, commenting on our YouTube, and I'll be better this season on responding, because I'll be like, oh, true girl, and then I just won't respond.
No, literally. I'll be like
yeah, and then I won't think anything of it. But I'll definitely be more intentional about responding this season, as you guys will see in the comments for season 9. But moms, let's do Udin.
Yeah.
Yes. So for me, we got. I've been sheen down this freaking whole season, just because like I let myself have one big Sheen cart per quarter. So this came in the last one. Yeah. So Sheen, and you guys have seen these girlies all freaking season. Sheen. What about you, moms?
These shoes are actually Fate's, because I forgot my other pair of shoes and I just couldn't wear orange dunks with this dress. So here we are.
Yeah.
This dress is Skims. We were just talking about how Skims just can't get my money underwear wise. Love the fitted dress, but I'm not paying $40 for undies, Kim. Love ya, but no.
Per?
Depending on the type, yeah.
Oh
when
my
they're not
God.
on sale, I'm like, bro, what is going on here?
It's like a stripper. No. Sorry.
No.
No, I guess I'm not sneezing. Never mind.
And Victoria's Secret is like, that's floss.
It is floss, but I'm not gonna hold you. I do like a good Victoria's Secret on sale. I love their cheeksters. Oh, I love their cheeksters.
Oh.
But I kind of found some on Amazon that the girl is like, this feels like butter. This is Skims adjacent, and then that's what I've been ordering on Amazon. And I don't know. It's just the older I get, the more underwear I go through.
I know. Where does it run off to?
Where are they going? I don't know. And then I'm like, how do I only have 3 pairs left and I have to wash again? Like, I literally just bought some new underwear today because I'm like, this is getting out of hand. And honestly, I'm like, okay, well, your booty is swallowing up these things. I think it may be time to get.
And that's when I said Victoria's Secret is giving floss, because every time I'm wearing it, I'm like,
okay, no, yeah.
just moving around.
No, you're
Just-
right,
Just
you're right.
squirming all day long.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this little top is from Urban Outfitters,
Love.
and this hat I want to say is H&M.
Okay.
I just didn't feel like doing my hair today, so that's what it's giving.
Hat vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, these braids are coming out this weekend. If not next weekend, because I get in Saturday night tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like the new growth. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to see how long my hair is. Probably down here.
Okay, no, when you get fresh braids out, or you had them in for a while, you start cutting.
I'm
hella
cutting
low.
right here.
Like you done got 4 inches of new growth.
Literally, because I'm not gonna hold you. Sometimes I just get lazy and like I have cut my hair before.
Oh yeah, me too.
yeah, because I'm like I don't care. Like I don't want to start from here because that adds like an extra 30 minutes.
No,
if
it
you're starting
does.
so low, like let's stop being the Lulu and save ourselves some time.
No, literally, I'd be like, well, let me go ahead and
Let me just
inches. Let me
Yeah.
start right here.
no, literally. But
But
moms,
let's get into this one.
yeah, so
There's a lot to unpack in this
a
episode.
lot. lot.
Question of the week: if you could go and tell your day one corporate self something to get ahead quicker or have less headaches, what would you tell her?
Just send the message. Like, don't be scared to send the message. Like, don't. I think when we had our when had Imani on, she was like, your fear of being perfect is like
It's
hindering
stopping
you from
your progress.
from you to being great.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, for me, emails, like, I used to be like, oh my gosh, like, what if they think I'm being rude if I send this word instead of that word? Just send the email. They're probably not thinking too much of it.
Yep.
And you need a paper trail realistically for literally any and everything. But yeah, just send the message. There was times where I'll be like, oh, I think my manager's gonna think I'm being too bossy, or I think I'm trying to order him around. If he thinks that, he'll say it in our one-on-one or be like, oh, like maybe we can work better on how you
Tone
send
in
messages.
email,
Exactly.
yeah.
He's never done that. And it's just like, just send the message. If they have a problem with it, they'll talk back. But realistically, they're not thinking much of it. They're just like, thank you for the information. Going about my
Moving on.
day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just send the message. And it really is the pot calling the kettle black because like, I'm at like 85-15 right now. It just depends. But also using ChatGPT for emails. Girl, you got it. I eat that down. And the thing is, Cisco actually has ChatGPT now, its own thing. And I'm
Oh,
like,
same.
perfect.
We have L'Oreal
Yes.
GPT.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love it so much. And it's like, thank y'all, because y'all knew we was using it.
Right.
And sometimes it's like Cisco only stuff. So it's good to have like a Cisco related ChatGPT. But what about you, moms?
For me, it's like, don't let your introvertness or shyness block your blessings. Because I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to networking, I'm like, oh, like how do I even, especially when I first started out, I was like, I'm used to like trying to put myself out there, but it was like, oh, I feel so uncomfortable just going up to somebody and being like, can we have a coffee chat? Or like, I want to pick your brain because I think your job is cool. Like,
Yeah.
it just would really, really work me up to the point where I just psych myself out of talking to them when I could have just they're probably flattered to even have somebody entry level want to know about their job or their role.
Yeah.
So I would say just ask. Like, no one's ever going to be like, no, I don't want to do a coffee chat with you.
Yeah.
No one has ever turned me down. They might have been like, I'm busy. It might have to be next month or something.
Exactly.
But they've never once been like, no, I'm not going to do that. And also, I would say keep in contact with the people you network with because it feels good to just check off that box. Like, yes, I had that coffee chat with them.
I did it.
But if you don't continue that relationship or you don't keep on talking to them,
Yeah.
what's the point? You met them once and you're never going to see them again unless
Yeah.
you see each other in the cafe or something or whatever.
Even like bi-quarterly catch-ups, like, hey, like I know we met when
Set
I first
something
started.
recurring.
No, set up something recurring. Like for me, when I first started, my goal, I was like, okay, what am I good at? Like I don't really know how to do this job from where I'll figure it out, but what am I good at? I'm good at talking.
Mhm.
Okay, so my goal was to meet with 100% of the people underneath my VP, and that was a lot of people in Bangalore, a lot of people in Malaysia. I'd have to do a lot of late night meetings, but I was like, let's start with the United States of America first.
Okay.
And doing that on top of a little bit of Malaysia and Bangalore, I hit 44% because I was tracking it in Excel.
Yeah.
Okay. Like underneath this manager, I met all these people. And then I would meet everybody underneath the manager and then meet the manager and be like, hey, I've met everybody on your team. Like that shows initiative.
Yep.
I've met everybody on your team. I'd love to meet with you and see your management style. Exactly. Your management style. What do you do? And like, literally my manager now knows me as like, you're good at ramping up new hires and teaching them on a kindergarten level. Like I pride myself on that. If I can teach you on a kindergarten level, I know my stuff.
No, literally.
You see what I'm
if you
saying?
can teach it, you know it.
You know it. And he's like, I want you to reach out to this guy that's been here for 15 years, but he's new in the role. I know you can teach him everything he needs to know to be good overall for the job. And I'm like, for you to say that to me, and to this day, I still feel like, even though I'm going to a new role, like I feel like I don't really know how to do my job. When you think you're doing 50% of a good job, you're probably doing 125%.
Especially if you're a type A girl and you're really hard on yourself and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I have such high expectations for what we consider success.
Yeah.
Think about the fact that most people are literally just doing their day-to-day job. They're not doing much. And
Yeah.
I'll get into this later, but I
Yeah.
feel like I've kind of realized corporate is kind of like school in a way
Yeah.
where it's like if you start doing the extracurriculars, if you start signing up for extra things, if you kind of put yourself in a position where you're going above and beyond work,
Yeah.
that's kind of how you see opportunities because anyone can work and excel
Yeah.
and no one really knows who built what file. But
Doesn't-
what they will remember is what work you did with the people, how
Mhm.
you were on the team, if you started something. Like
Yeah.
I was very intentional my first year of starting something and having it be like Denasia Thompson started doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
That was our
we'll
really
get,
first
we'll-
question.
yeah, we'll get into that. But moms, what do you do? Where do you work? And what's your quarter to quarter look like?
So I work at L'Oreal. I've been there for almost 2 years now. I am a financial analyst. I'm also in a management trainee program. So basically the way it is that when I was an intern back in college, I got a job offer to be a part of a 2-year contract where they basically rotate me through different jobs. So I started off in our professional products division, which is hair care. I started off in their HQ. So I was kind of helping manage sales, reporting sales, kind of tracking to see which brands were doing best. And it was kind of like an HQ controlling role where you're just kind of overseeing all the brands at once. When I was an intern, I was on the DMI team for our skincare division. So that brand was kind of, I was specifically on CeraVe in SkinCeuticals and La Roche-Posay.
Oh, okay.
So when I was doing that one, it was kind of like that team was specifically in charge of creating products.
Oh,
So
okay.
I like met the girl that created like the facial cleanser.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, okay, we're the finance team that's telling them how much money do we have to execute this idea or things
I see.
like that.
Yeah.
So that was really fun because it was kind of like you're in the weeds of starting the beginning process of the product, which was really fun. And then now I'm in my second rotation and I'm in our consumer products. So now I work with like Maybelline, Garnier, Carol's Daughter, like our consumer ones that you would see in like Walmart or Target or like
Yeah.
Walgreens. And my job now, I basically am in a HQ role again. And I specifically help manage like, if you go into Walmart and you see the plastic displays that are in there, I help manage how much it costs to put those up. So, and how much it costs to replace those plastics every year, and what stores we're in. I help manage that budget. And then I also work with our digital team. So my role is kind of like, we call it advertising and promotion.
Yeah.
So I have like 4 different budgets that I manage, and they're basically all related to consumer research. So one team's researching how do we look best on Amazon. One team is researching like, okay, like we're going to put out this type of media on Target. How do people appeal to that? And I just help them manage how much it costs for that. And I tell them when they need to cut their budget. I tell them when they have money, and I just manage those POs
Yeah.
that come in.
Yeah.
Purchase orders. So whenever we get a purchase order for a new client, I'm helping manage that too. So kind of like client relationships / media. And yeah.
And what does your quarter to quarter look like? Like what does the busiest look like?
We don't really operate in quarters.
Oh, okay.
We operate in trends.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
So yeah, like that's kind of like, I don't know if that's a French thing, but it's kind of
think-
just like we plan our year and we look at our budget in the beginning of the year, and then we see how we're trending to that alignment, and then
I
we
see.
figure out, okay, like we're far from our budget, we're close to our budget. What is our new number now that it's trend 3 or trend 5 or trend 9, and the 5, 9, and 3 align to the month. So trend 3 is like March versus like May, or
I see.
pre-budget time is usually end of year, and we're planning for the next year.
Okay.
I was trying to be more in detail this time, because I think last time, like, I know what I do, but it's so hard to explain, like, what do I do every day? That's kind of what my day-to-day looks like. Like, it's a lot of meetings with our business partners. It's a lot of meetings to be like, okay, like, where are we at with this budget? Someone needs this project funded. Where are we going to get that $30K from? But yeah, I will say I was overwhelmed at first, because I'm like, why am I in charge of this much money?
This much money.
That's
I'm only 22. Like, yeah, that
Like,
was crazy. Seeing
yeah.
the dollars, that corporate.
Or even just seeing, like, the fun part of my job was, like, I get to see, like, POs that come in for just random things.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we're paying an influencer that much? Or like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this brand is doing well versus this brand. Like, it's just cool to kind of see the ins and outs, because everybody just sees a brand. They don't really see what's going on behind the scenes.
The background. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
buy it. Like, they don't think about the background.
Yeah.
And then final question, because I just thought about this. What, like, EROs or ERGs, like employee resource organizations or employee resource groups, are you a part of?
So on my last team, I kind of helped start a couple with like, I helped like co-start our book club. We had a social club that I was very involved in. Since I was the youngest on the team, it was kind of just like, you're the most tech savvy. Like, we're going to have you get involved in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I was involved in those. And then like L'Oreal Wide, I'm in Black at L'Oreal. I'm on like a couple committees for planning wise. The Women of Color committee. I was gonna join the diverse ability one, like people for disabilities, as an ally.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let me try to give my run through. So, I started as an intern initially. I basically, like, if you don't know what Handshake is, it's basically like in college, usually a lot of like bigger universities have this thing called Handshake, and you can like, companies can reach out to you through it. So basically Cisco was during the pandemic was like, hey, we have this mentor mentee program. Do you want to join? And I think it was like just like a big net, and whoever comes. And I was like, cool, I'm in the pandemic. It can't hurt. And that was literally the best decision I've ever made. So I got a mentee. I didn't really like his role, but I was like, hey, but I would love to be at this company. So he was able to get me a business analyst internship. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I do need an internship.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and take it. So I ended up doing a internship as a business analyst in the Global Services and Logistics Operations section of Cisco. Cisco has so many different sections of everything. And I will say business analyst is the broadest title in the world. Ever. But during that, I basically had a project. And mind you, I was in supply chain. I only took one supply chain class all of college. And I basically figured out, okay, we got a lot of stuff in the manufacturing sites that is just sitting and nobody's buying because it's excess and obsolescence, or E&O. And it's already basically die. Like we've already done a last time buy. And my project was to figure out, how do we get all the stuff that's just sitting and costing Cisco money because we have to pay for it to just sit out. So that was my project, and I didn't get a return offer. So as a type A girly, I'm like, oh, I don't have a full-time offer. Like, I don't know. And nepotism is prevalent in corporate. Like, oh my gosh.
The amount of last names I done seen, and I'm like, oh, so your daddy is so-and-so?
Exactly. We had this series in our internship where it was like a leader would come and talk to us about what they did. And I'm like, he got that last name. And the thing is, I didn't know this, but towards the end, they were like, we only have 4 slots. And those people got the slots. And there was there's a lot of favoritism as well in corporate. So that you don't know what you don't know. In corporate, you'll learn quickly.
Very quickly.
Ended up, I was like, okay, well, my life is over, whole 9. Then, but the recruiter lady was like, your name will be in the system. Like, we will get back to you, I promise. So months later, I was able to get a interview with my current manager and my current director, but he was a manager at the time. And I basically showed them the project that I did in my internship, and that's what got me the role.
Period.
So I was like, hey, rejection literally is redirection.
Every
So,
time.
and I would not, I thought I wanted to do a What do you do? You're like you switch roles every few quarters.
Rotation.
I thought
I switch roles every year.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I thought I wanted to do a rotational program, but the people, my intern cohort that actually did get the roles, I was so jealous of them. But when they actually got the job, they were like, I hate my job so much. Like and I was just like, oh. I was like, I love my job. My manager's so cool. Like, so really rejection really is redirection because I would not have liked it there. But I was so desperate for a full-time. Getting a full-time in college, you're like, all I got to do is get C's and I'm good.
Good. I just need to show. They don't even ask for the degree.
They never asked for my transcript.
They never asked for nothing.
Ever. I'm like, so I didn't really have to graduate? Are you kidding?
No, literally.
No, literally. But yeah, they never asked for my transcript, which was actually crazy. Because it's like, anyways, but yeah, so I ended up getting a business analyst role. I did not know what that was. I did not know what the job description was, but I knew I had a job in supply chain. So anytime somebody asks, I'm like, oh, I'm be a business analyst in supply chain. Do not ask me what that means.
Couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you. So I get in there and I'm like, oh, after a year, you get your actual title, which is a demand planning manager. So for the past year and about August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. About a year and 9 months, I've been a demand planning manager in supply chain. So, and then supply chain, then global planning, and then I'm a demand planner. So basically my role is I plan forecasts for the next 8 quarters. So basically when I first started, I was under PABU, and we basically forecasted based off of what's marketing saying, what's sales planning saying, what does historicals look like, and what do we truly think is going to book. So basically month 1, we say this is what we think is going to book because of this, that, and the third. We present to leadership. And then month 2, we track it. And month 3, we say, okay, this is what actually happened, and this is why I was wrong, or this is why I was right. And we're basically tracked off of accuracy. It's like, how well is your accuracy? Now, there's some spaces that are so volatile. Accuracy, if you get a 40%, if it's increased, you're good, because they know how volatile it is. So, and I got hired into the most volatile space, had no clue. Literally the most volatile space. Like, I heard people would just automate their plans. I'm like, you automated? I can't do that, because a customer literally told marketing was like, hey, this big company's booking, so you need to adjust your plan. I'm like, can I get a date? Can I get a book dollar? Can I get units? Like, honestly, some people are very entitled, to say the very, like, oh, you, and I really liked my demand planning manager title, because marketing can tell me what they wanted me to do, sales planning can tell me what they want to do, but I make the final decision.
Period.
And I was like, I'm 22, y'all. Like, you're letting me make all the decisions. So that was a little bit daunting, I will say. Like, looking at that,
am I qualified to be telling these people that are way more advanced than me or further along in their career, like, no, I cannot approve that.
Exactly. They got kids. Like,
yeah, they got a mortgage.
Like, I don't believe in your plan.
Yeah,
to say
literally.
that.
That's how I feel in finance. I'm like, you don't have money for that. You need to go back to the drawing board and cut something else.
Exactly. And they're like, I really believe. I'm like, based off of past actuals, they've never booked anything close to that. So where are you getting this from?
Right.
Because if I put this plan in, I can't be like, well, she said. At the end of the day, Faith Craig's name is on it.
Right.
So that's like the scary part of it. But honestly, love my team, love my role. But I got to a point where I was just like, this is so much. I'm getting way too much work for what this is not a long-term role for me. And my whole plan, I told my manager, I gave him my 3, 6, 9, 12 month plan, and it was to work my butt off and do all these things and meet all the people underneath the VP, but also figure out how to be like kind of like a project manager. So the EROs that I'm a part of, I'm a co-lead for the HBCU pillar underneath Connected Black Professionals. We've done a lot of stuff underneath that. I did some buddy programs underneath that. Like, I love the HBCU pillar. Mind you, not a HBCU girly at all. It's so funny that I'm
But they always need somebody black to sit in there, though.
Always.
Every time.
And the thing is, like, showing my director, like, hey, this was my 3, 6, 9, 12 month plan, and this is what I did, highlighting it all in green. Ooh.
During them quarterly reviews or your year-end review, when I tell you I divided up my entire year-end review by business function, what I'm doing for the team, what I'm doing for the company, and what I'm doing for me.
Yeah.
And every single one of those, it was like personal development. I'm taking these trainings.
Yeah.
travel wise, I'm going to Atlanta to represent the company. I'm doing this. Like, I'm literally writing down every single thing I'm a part of and why it means something to them, because they don't really know what you do every day unless you're telling them.
Yeah.
But like for me, like my managers have always been very hands off. They've been like, I trust you, do what you gotta do.
Got it. Yeah.
So with that, I'm like, you still need to know what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, in this ERG, I'm planning XYZ. I'm on this panel. I'm moderating this one. I'm doing all of these extracurriculars.
Yeah.
It's genuinely like school.
Yeah. On top of doing good at my job.
Right.
Like I've increased accuracy. So back to what I actually do. So from August to July, I think of business units as like grandparents, and then product family as parents, and then kids are all of the products underneath all the product families. So I had two very low dollar.
Crazy. We call it ancestors and descendants.
No, okay. No, but the thing is that's a Faith original. Like that's how I describe it to new planners.
Yeah.
Like this is how you understand it in your brain. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So did that, increased accuracy, because I'm like, why do we think it's ever gonna book this much? It's never booked that much in the past. So you guys, this is a kind of my Achilles heel. I get into the weeds a little bit too much. My manager was like, I need you to think like a general manager. I need you to look at tops down. What's going on?
Yeah.
You don't give me no nitty gritty. Tell me what's going on at top. And I'm like,
which is so hard. Like
So
I was
hard.
an accounting major, so like I'm like, let's get this down to the penny.
yeah,
We need to tie out.
yeah.
And my team will be like, well, did we round to the nearest 100th? I'm like,
100,000?
100,000? I had an aneurysm the first time they told me that.
Yeah.
I said, there's no way.
There's literally no way. And the thing is, I like to plan like, okay, well, this is the standard cost. This is how many units I'm doing. And he's like, no, top. What customers are going to book? What customers didn't book? What customers are you expecting? Like, goodness gracious. And I'm working with a lot of big customers. I'm like
It's
global. It's very, very daunting. But from August to July, I had PABU. I was underneath somebody. And I was like, hey, Sam, I'm ready. And he was like, in March, I said, I'm ready. He said, okay, thank you, but I'll let you know. Then in July, he's like, okay, I do think you're ready. You can have your own BU. I'm like, yeah, I get my own
Period.
BU. Goodness gracious, I'm so glad I got it then, because I was not ready. I was not ready in March. I got my own BU. It's more so like AI products, and we acquired this company, and it was a very small amount of products, but very volatile customers because it was so new, because we acquired it. So I had that basically AI BU, and then on top of that, my manager was like, and you guys have heard this multiple times. In November, he said, "Are you ready for something more?" The director asked. I'm like, "Why is my name in the director's mouth?" Which is good until you get more work, but not more pay.
And that's where we have a problem.
That's where we have a problem. And you kind of need to know what your company is like. But I guess everybody knew except for me. Cisco's very big on do the work now, get paid whenever. But has a great culture, has great benefits, has great everything. But it really is get paid whenever.
Yeah.
So I ended up November. He said it'll happen within the next 2 quarters. Why did I get it in January 8th to be specific? And when I got that ramp up, I was like, I'm not getting paid again where I feel like I really deserve it. Not deserve it, where I feel like
You're doing the work to have that pay.
exactly until probably 2 years, and I can't do it. So on top of like, I was hanging on to this new responsibility on top of my AI BU by a thread. I was hanging on. I was just trying to do as well as the previous planner, which was my bestie. That girl eats down. I'm like, girl, you're in your 30s. I'm trying, but I haven't been in the industry for 10 years.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, 2 years versus 10 years.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I ended up, that's how I got my new role. I am now a project manager in Central Product Ops, and I will basically be doing different projects that leadership asks us to do, and managing different red badges, which is basically different people that we hire in other countries, so Bangalore or Malaysia. And I didn't know this either, but like companies hire a lot of third world country employees to pay them less.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, why do we have so many Guadalajarian coworkers?
When I tell you, haven't experienced it like with L'Oreal, but when I worked at PwC, I'm like, why is everybody on a different time? And I'm like, where do they live? They're like, oh, they're all based out of India.
Really?
I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I didn't know it was that popular either, but I think it's more for like if they're like like I know Big Four for sure does it, and I guess now also if you're like in a STEM
Tech,
field,
yeah,
tech.
for real. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of Asian coworkers and Mexican coworkers. That's just what it is, and they eat down.
Yeah,
The work they do, they definitely need to be getting paid more. But like in their country, they live in lavishly, for real.
for real. But we have a lot of questions that the girlies submitted, so let's get to those.
Yeah.
We'll tap into the first two later because I feel like those are more like philosophical.
Yeah.
So someone did say, can you talk more about your duties as a financial analyst? I'm assuming that's for me. I did kind of cover that, but yeah, I feel like a financial analyst, depending on what division or what team you're on, your main goal is to make sure the company is spending the money they should be and not going over that. At L'Oreal, we kind of describe the finance person as the co-pilot. Like,
Okay.
The marketing is kind of the one driving the products and like, okay, what's the vision for the company? But finance is kind of that co-pilot in the seat that's like, okay, hold on now. We about to crash into that. Or let's make sure we're over here. We're doing this.
Yeah.
So I kind of think of my job as like a co-pilot. Like, how can I help my business partners, aka marketing or research and development or supply chain, like make sure that we're doing our jobs correctly.
Yeah.
And also, I guess you kind of have to figure out what you're good at naturally. Like for me, I know I'm really good at making sense of things and understanding numbers, but finance versus accounting, for any girlies that are kind of going through that, I've realized accounting is really more being in the weeds. Finance is a little bit more, okay, strategy, decisions. I realized I had to make a lot of decisions where it's like, I'm used to kind of relying on my manager as like a hutch. Like, okay, like let me write about my manager. And he's like, you own this.
You own it. They love to say that.
They're like, this is your budget. You own this. When I heard that, I said, I own this whole budget. He's like, this is yours. You make the decision, go with your gut. And as you go more into corporate, I feel like you kind of get that like gut feeling where you just kind of learn what works best. And you'll know what's wrong, what's right. But yeah, I had to learn very quickly that for one, you can't let other people that are trying to get more money walk all over you.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, she's new. Like, let me ask her for an extra $50 million in the budget. And I'm just like, girl, I'm new, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah, fact.
You shouldn't have that money.
Yeah.
And then someone else said, I want to get into financial planning / financial analyst. What would you say a typical day in the life looks like at work, and any tips for someone wanting to go into the role? What to expect, pros and cons? So for me, my day really looks like a lot of Excel. There's also an internal system that we use at L'Oreal that I spend a lot of time in because that's how I pull our numbers. But my day-to-day usually looks like me first opening up my email and seeing what's going on. Who done emailed me, what I have to catch up and to do on. I usually will build out like on my OneNote, I'll be like, okay, this is my week. And I just have a running list of to-dos. And it's like, okay, these are business related ones, like things I need to do for my actual job. And then I have like an other, like make sure you reply back to Kathy about that event we're hosting or something like that.
Yeah.
So usually it starts off by just checking that list. Then my manager will usually call me and just tell me what to expect for the day, or like, okay, can you keep an eye out on this? I'll check all the budgets that I manage and do a check to make sure that those are all running smoothly and nothing has like caught on fire overnight. And then, yeah, a lot of my job is honestly building trackers in Excel and tracking the numbers that I have to manage. A lot of times it's like, okay, I was really good in Power BI. Okay. That was my last role. I managed 3 different Power BIs. So I was in charge of taking all of our sales and putting them into a Power BI and sending them out to management so that way they could know exactly how many sales they got that past day. So as soon as I woke up, it was like I got to refresh that and pull all those numbers in, put them into a Power BI and make sense of them. Tell management like, hey, this brand, I don't know what's going on this particular brand, but something happened and they're literally low on sales astronomically. So I was kind of like the person that would kind of flag to management if something was wrong, and usually finance is the first to find out if something's wrong. So yeah, I would say the pros are that you do get a lot of visibility. Oh, sorry, just choked. You get a lot of visibility. My first role and this role, I've had the opportunity to present to our CFO, because it's like if I'm the one managing this budget and he wants to know what's going on in my division, I know it best. So you have the chance to really like present and like they get to see you in action. Yeah. And I would say in my last role especially, it really helped because it's like they get to know me. And it's like they know you by name. So if opportunities come up, it's like, oh, I know Denasia. Like I'm going to ask her or I'm going to recommend her for something. And your name is in rooms you don't even know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And cons, I would say, is that I think finance can be a little siloed. for the most part, you don't really need to do a lot of collabing to build an Excel sheet.
No.
You don't. So it's kind of hard to find a team where I think you really feel like you're really part of the team. Like, you guys are collaborating, but I think the collaboration happens the higher up you get.
Yeah.
When you're at the lower end of the spectrum, it's kind of like you're doing a lot of the grunt work to get to that point. And for me, it's like, I want to be the one making the decisions. I want to be the one that's using my personal strategy to like drive the company.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't really do that until you get to this point. Until you go through all the hard shit. So I would say just kind of tough it out the first couple years. I don't think any finance role is easy in the beginning.
Or analyst role.
In general.
I don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you manage, because some analyst roles, it depends on what they have you working on. But I know at least for the finance analysts I know, whether they work at L'Oreal or like a corporate company, or whether they're in Big Four, or whether they're like entry level investment bankers, like wherever you're at, I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna be
Peaches and
easy.
cream. Yeah.
And especially for finance, I know a lot of people personally that work in like investment banking or like Goldman Sachs, like any type of industry that's very, very demanding hours wise. I will say I've learned that working at a company like L'Oreal, where finance isn't the main driver, I've had a lot more flexibility. Now, to be fair, those investment bankers, you are making
bank.
Vicious bank.
Yeah.
Disgusting bank. But you're making so much money and you have no time to spend it is what I've gotten. And a lot of them burn out after 2 years, or they're even in Big Four. It's like you are working crazy hours. And at least with L'Oreal, I can say, like, yes, we do have our crazy seasons where things get busy. But for the most part, I'm not working on weekends. I have a life outside of my job.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are going into finance, just consider, like, are you really trying to get money right now? Or do you want to be able to also live your life? Because that will dictate what type of company you go to.
And also ask that question in the interview. They could lie, of course.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't even say in the interview. Like, talk to somebody before you get to the interview stage.
Maybe LinkedIn.
Yeah, like, or if someone put you on to the opportunity, I would reach out to somebody that's in their like second or third year at the company and just be like, what does that first year look like? And they'll be able to tell you honestly, like, girl, I don't sleep. They are working me down.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I figured out like L'Oreal was a good move for me, because I wanted to work in finance, but also like, it's just fun working in beauty. Like, I love the industry. I get free products all the time. I'm like, this is where I feel like I can express myself and still grow and like develop professionally. So it was just a good happy medium for me personally.
For sure. Next question. Hey guys, could you likely give more insight on your jobs, specifically the classes you took in college, and how what you've learned has reflected in your working roles? I'm a high school senior. I went to study accounting to become a business analyst, but I kind of need some advice. I took a college level class for financial accounting to get a feel of it and know what I am getting myself into, but I am not quite catching on to everything as much as I would like to. I still believe I wish to study accounting to set on the career path I want. I'll let you take this and I'll kind of tap on it after.
Girl, I was in the same predicament. I didn't know if I was an accounting major, and I didn't know what I wanted to do necessarily, because I was like, okay, I kind of want to go into like accounting, but I don't want to become a CPA and kind of be like in that Big Four environment.
Yeah.
Because I had done an internship with PwC, and I was like, okay, I think I can do this work, but I'm just not energized by it. Like, I don't feel excited to go to work. And I just took that as a sign immediately, like, this probably isn't for me.
Yeah.
So I would say first do an internship, or even just shadow someone for a day and figure out, can I see myself doing this day to day? Because if you feel like the answer is no up front, you should figure that out pretty quickly. Also, if you're looking to do like corporate finance, I would say you don't have to change your major to a finance major. You can, like I did, you can start off in accounting and then say I have an accounting background, because usually like that's an even stronger push. That's what they're looking for. So I would say make a list of companies that you would like to work for, and they almost always have a finance department.
Oh yeah.
Start there.
Yeah.
That's what I did. When was this? This was like mid 2020. I had finished my internship with PwC, and I was like, love PwC. The team was amazing, but the work just wasn't for me. I was like, my dream is to work in either fashion or beauty, and I know I'm good at numbers. Like, how can I fuse the two? So I was like, let me go ahead and go on LinkedIn, and I found this guy named Ronald. Shout out to Ronald. He was a finance manager at L'Oreal, and I just cold messaged him, and I was like, hey, like, you kind of have my dream job. Can I just like call you and ask about what you do? And he got back to me within like 5 minutes. It was insane.
Love.
We hopped on a call, and he recommended me for the internship, and then that's how I got introduced to L'Oreal. And ironically, they didn't have any office on the West Coast at all.
Wow. Okay.
So like they were like, we've never hired anybody from Nevada, but
your resume looks great.
They're
Yeah.
like, I mean, we're going to have our internship virtually anyway because it was COVID. So it just happened to work out.
Yeah.
So I would say don't be afraid to shoot your shot with whatever company you want to work for, but definitely think about industry if you're thinking about going into corporate finance, because that's going to matter more. The work is probably going to be the same no matter where you go. I was also looking at Coca-Cola because I did a marketing internship with them. So it was like, okay, it was either going to be Coca-Cola or L'Oreal. And I just decided I align more with beauty. So I went with that.
Yeah.
But classes wise, yeah, I had a major in accounting and a minor in global entrepreneurship. So I was taking a lot of accounting classes. I also took the class you're talking about. I will say though, don't let the classes kind of psych you out, because I'm not going to hold you. Yes, it did give me a great foundation, but I'm not looking back at my class notes to get through my day to day. A lot of what I learned for this job, I learned on the job. Like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Probably about 95% of it. And whatever else I used from references of what I knew in class was really just background knowledge that helped me navigate the space.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, like every single thing I learned was because it was on the job. And your manager, especially if you're entry level, will understand that.
Oh yeah.
You just got to be able to learn and pick up things quickly.
Yeah.
But as long as you have the right attitude, like you'll survive.
Yeah, and also don't let a job title stray you. Like I said, I've only taken one supply chain class. I was a supply chain business analyst in my internship and my actual job. Also, I failed my stats class, VLOOKUPs and pivot tables. What do I do for my job? VLOOKUPs and pivot tables. Like that's literally my whole job, grabbing data and trying to make sense of it for all my customers, for all my different stakeholders. So do not let one class and you're like, I'm just really not good at this. Girl, it's okay. You're gonna get the hang of it, and if you don't get the hang of it in college, you'll get the hang of it on the job. Because the thing is, there's gonna be mentors who can be like, "Hey, are you good at Excel?" And that's exactly what I do. All of my coworkers I've pinged. Hey, I see you make really good. You do really good VLOOKUPs and X. I didn't even know XLOOKUP was a thing.
Oh yeah.
And pivot tables. Can you teach me? Can you teach me how you made your sheet? And they'll be like, oh yeah, of course. They're flattered.
Oh, listen, my favorite thing to do is to get a good Excel sheet and just look at all them formulas
And figure out like
And
how
I'm like,
where did they
ooh,
pull? Yeah.
That's a mean concatenate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Y'all, you did your thing. I'm like, bro, like you are an Excel whiz, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is, you are not bad at your job. You just don't know who's good at what to ping them.
And honestly, if you're really worried about it, I was deathly afraid.
Death.
I was like, oh my God, I need to take multiple Excel
Trainings,
courses before I start my job. Like I was
Exactly.
deathly afraid of Excel. Literally, you will learn on the job. It will be okay.
It's
Whatever
fine.
formulas you don't learn, you will type it in. In fact, there is an Excel AI. I'll find the link where you can type in what you're trying to do, and AI will tell you what the formula is.
What?
Use your resources.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like I can learn this. And honestly, if you are really serious about trying to get into Excel for our like business girlies, have your manager give you a file to manage that is huge. When I first started, I was dealing with a file that was so big, it would take 10 minutes to open.
Oh yeah.
It was thousands of formulas. And it was like, okay, you're in charge of this file. And I was literally shitting bricks.
Yeah.
But guess what? That taught me every single thing I know about Excel, to the point where in a year I was able to like upskill. And one of my coworkers, like when we had our interns come by, I was a buddy to like 3 different interns. And he was like, okay, this one intern is struggling with Excel. Can you help him? How did you learn? Like, I know you're really good. Like, how did you learn?
Mhm.
And I said, I didn't figure this out until like 3 months ago.
Bro.
And he was like, what? Like, I've been thinking you're good this whole time. I said, bro, I've been faking it till I make it.
faking it. Bro, I didn't really do a decent VLOOKUP until January. I literally pinged
Without looking at an example?
Yeah, no, that example that like, okay, like that FX up there, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I need to pull it from here. I was like, hey, Graham, guess what I just did? And he was like, well, I was like, a VLOOKUP. And he was like, yeah, because he taught me, how
You
to do
sound
it.
so nerdy.
But the thing is, if you've been Excel
You know.
You know.
It's a lie.
and that NA, no, I know there's that information in that other file. Pull it.
Listen.
Pull it.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
But yeah, so a lot of these other questions, someone asked the difference between a financial and business analyst. Financial analyst versus business analyst. A business analyst is kind of just a catch-all.
That's a catch-all. Yeah.
You'll be having your hands in a lot of different pots versus financial analyst. You can probably expect that you're in Excel or you're in whatever internal system they work with,
Yeah.
and it'll probably involve a lot of numbers.
Yeah, like my friend India, she's a business analyst and she's on her way to become a Scrum Master. for me, I'm a business analyst, but my actual role is demand planning, and I'm working more so on the supply chain unit. So, business analyst, make sure you're clarifying with your manager, your hiring manager, what exactly are you doing day to day?
Right.
Because it could be different.
Right. Any tips on getting into the corporate world? Like I said before with my story, literally just shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. I already knew L'Oreal did not recruit at my school, at my state, at my region.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the worst thing they can say is no. I'm just going to shoot my shot.
Yeah.
And make sure you have someone that can vouch for you. Every single internship or job I've gotten is because someone has been like, I spoke with her. She cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And even if it's not a friend or someone at your university, even if it's just cold messaging somebody on LinkedIn, to have somebody to put, on that job application, they say, do you know anybody at the company?
But then
yes, I know Ronald.
Yeah.
That alone works wonders. Like, corporate is one big nepotism.
It's just
cesspool.
nepotism.
Like, that's literally all it is.
That's what it is. It's networking is key. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah.
Like, if I had never reached, did that Google form for the handshake thing for the Cisco Mentee Mentor program, I would have never
had
here.
a job. Yeah.
Never had a job. I don't know what I'd be doing after that one little thing. Like, just try. Why not you?
Exactly.
Why shouldn't you get that? Why wouldn't you get that? You're qualified. You're overqualified.
But also anything that sticks out on a resume, I would say when I was first starting out, it was really hard because it was like they're looking for experience and I have no experience. Make sure you're getting involved in clubs and orgs on campus, because I was taking like my experience being a Delta and doing volunteer work and relating that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this doesn't directly apply to an accounting internship at whatever company, but guess what? I know how to work well on a team. I know how to coordinate events, and like that organization skill will translate to whatever I do. And when I tell you I was using the word transferable down, I'm like, this is a transferable skill.
Yeah.
I know how to do X, Y, and Z, and it might not directly relate to the job, but literally interviews and getting into corporate is literally an art of finesse.
Yeah.
How can you make your story fit? And the more unique it is, the better. Like, a lot of the people we've hired were not even finance majors. They're like, I'm literally a history major.
Wow.
But like, I have this skill, I'm ready to learn. And especially entry level, that's the main point where you can be like, I'm literally a blank slate. Just teach me.
Yeah, for me, for like my software engineering internship, I taught little girls how to code Python, and they love volunteering that aligns with the actual job or internship. So that's how I went to Grace Hopper, which is like the biggest computer science convention, like literally in the world for women, with not thinking that I was going to get an internship as a sophomore. But because I did that one thing in the summer with my mentor, that's how I was able to get a software engineering internship. To have a defense contractor on your resume.
Yep.
Now, I didn't know they'd be building rockets and stuff, because I just knew I needed an internship and they was paying good. But like having that also, having the company that you're applying for on as an intern to get to full time is great. And then also, like you said, like things that make you stand out.
Yeah. What's your brand? I remember I had a mentor when I was a junior in college, and I was kind of debating between what internships I wanted to do and where I was at. And at the time, I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing like marketing or if I was going to be doing like finance. And I was like, okay, I kind of had decided I want to lean more towards finance, but I had a marketing internship with Coca-Cola on the table. And I was asking him, like, I don't think I should take it. I don't have a coherent story if I'm taking different internships everywhere. And as y'all know, I was really Miss Workaholic. Like, I was working I was doing children's events planning. I was doing Coca-Cola. I was doing, like, just random shit. And he was like, it's more about what your brand is than it is the role that you took. Yeah. He was like, if you're trying to work at L'Oreal, for example, the fact that you can have a brand like Coca-Cola or another brand that you work with, names that people recognize, he said that's going to help build your brand more than anything. Yeah. So if you're trying to work at a certain company, you might not get there at first, but go to their sister company. Exactly. Go to another company that's well respected on that list and build your resume like that. That way when they see that name, it's like, okay.
Well, they hired her.
A stamp of approval. It's like, well, they hired her. Honestly, once you get the first stamp of approval, all the rest of them is light work.
Exactly. Like, I think also, let's say you're like, I don't have, my major's so hard, I don't have time for extracurriculars. You were a project manager on one of those projects.
Start listing what you did in that class.
What you've managed a project. If you're listening to this, you've managed a project. That I did not have any experience, but I was like, I got to bulk up this resume. I was a project manager for a Lego car. That is also what helped me. And they were like, explain during the interview. Because I got an interview, like, explain how you were a project manager. And I was like, oh, So no, make sure you can back up what's on the resume.
Please. Oh my God, because they will ask.
Quickly.
They will ask. You'll be like,
Quickly.
and they can know when you're lying.
Bro.
So just make sure everything
literally.
you put on that resume really is truthful, because they be knowing.
And if you just put into ChatGPT, at least make sure you can back up the ChatGPT stuff.
Please.
And they can kind of tell it's ChatGPT. So
That sounded too wordy.
have somebody that you really respect in the corporate world look over your resume, and if they tear it to bits, that's okay, because you'd rather have them tear it to bits
then you not get the job.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, how do you network at career fairs? Something that I would do, this is like my little secret. I would just start off the conversation like as if I was not asking for a job, as if I just didn't want to get the company at all. Like I was not interested in working there. I would just be like treating like a normal person. Oh, so like, how are you? Where are you from? Like just build the rapport. Like I would not start off asking what I want, because in reality, it's just like they want to know, are you easy to work with? How are you as a person? Because yes, you might be qualified on paper, but if you have a terrible personality or you come off to like, I need a job, they're like, what's your name first?
Facts.
So I would really just approach them as people, because in reality, they are people, and you're gonna have to work with them for a good portion of your life. So make sure you actually get to know them. So I would actually start just like literally just getting to know them first. And then I'd be like, okay, well, a little bit about me. I would tell them where I'm at in school, what I'm doing, and like my goal. And I'd be like, my goal is to do X, Y, and Z. And like, I would also do my research before I came to those networking events. I knew what companies were going to be there, because like at least my school, they'd be like, come network with X, Y, and Z company.
Exactly.
I would do my research. I would be like, what matters to me? For me, I was like, I'm Black. Do you guys have DE&I initiatives? I care about sustainability. Do you guys care about the environment as a company?
Yeah.
And I would come with a little portfolio ready. Like, okay, I see you guys do L'Oreal for the Future. What is that about? And the hiring manager would be like, oh, like, you know that?
Yeah.
I'd be like, yes, girl. Like, I care about those things. So I want to know, what can the company do for me? Like, do I align with the company? Because a lot of times it's like, I just want to get hired. But it's like, once you get in there, do you actually like where you work? Do they like you?
That part.
Will you fit in?
That part.
So a lot of things I did was just really being prepared. That way I had talking points, and it wasn't just like, well, what do you do day to day? It was like real questions. Like, I see you guys do sustainability. Can you tell me about how you were raising money for kids in Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Like asking those type of things. And honestly, the hiring manager is like equipped to talk about those things.
Yeah.
They just don't really get asked a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then I would ask for a follow-up, and I would always follow up. Literally every single person that you meet, please send an email. Like,
You got to follow
within
up.
the next like 2 to 3 business days of just thanking them and just being like, I'm open to anything, any opportunities. And a lot of times that's opening the door to a world of things that will offer you.
Yeah. For career fairs, I never really got things back from career fairs, like the 2 or 3 that I did go to my sophomore and junior year. But at Grace Hopper, for me, it's just, I'm just smiling at everybody. Like, for me, smiling, personality work, because a lot of people are just nervous. They're sweating through their freaking suit jacket and stuff, and wearing something that also exudes confidence, because the clothes will really make or break it.
Okay, you gotta fake it.
A nice, strong blazer. Express is going I think bankrupt, so go to Express. Yeah
They might be bankrupt by the time this comes out.
Literally, but like having just something that's like, I'm here and I'm ready for a job. Like, for me, I was just like, can I have some socks? And then they were like, yeah, for a resume. So I switched up, and then that's how I got an interview. Literally the next day, I was so nervous. I'm like, Mom, can you pray? Like, it was just so lot. But like I said, the teaching little girls how to code, she didn't even ask me for a coding interview for a software engineering job. She's like, you taught little girls how to code? Tell me about that. And that was the whole interview.
Yep. Have something that you know is unique for you.
And touches your heart. Like, this is something that's very, very close to my heart. I didn't realize, but I really do love mentoring.
Yeah.
Because if I can teach it, for me, it helps my ego. Like, wow, I kind of know this stuff. Like, I taught myself and I knew it. But also, like, I'm helping the future generation.
Yes. And if you have something that you actually are passionate about, like for me, it was like, I am passionate about sustainability and DE&I. And that's usually what I've joined when I was at my companies. I would bring that up. It's like, have something that they can remember you by. It's like, oh, that girl was really into this.
Really? Yeah.
Like, I can tell she cares about that.
Like, she's known for that.
She's known for that.
Yeah.
Like, figure out what your thing is that you care about and really drive that. Make that the theme of your interview. Like, yes, this is something I care about, and this is why I'm good for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why? Figure that out. And it took me about 1.5 years to figure that out. Like, my manager saw it in me before. He said, I'm really good at relationship management, aka talking to people and getting people out of their shells, and I'm really good at teaching people on a kindergarten level. And I was just like, I am good at relationship management and mentoring. Thank you for putting that in corporate words.
Right.
Because everything has a corporate word.
Okay.
I promise you it does.
Someone said, how do you balance work and life? How do you find the energy to do things? Girl, it's hard.
It's hard.
I'm tired every day.
Every day. In the beginning, I was like, let's just do 9 to 5, and then after 5, like, do a hobby. Sometimes it's going to look like a 7 to 7. Sometimes it's going to look like an 8 to 10. Like, it's 9 to 5s don't exist.
It's really hard unless you really do work at a job. They genuinely.
They like cut
everyone
you off.
is like kicking you out at 5.
Tell me what company that is.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a Fortune 500, let me know.
Also, it's like, I think a lot of the work-life balance also comes with setting boundaries, and this is really hard when you first start.
Very hard.
I realize it's easier for me to set boundaries now that I've proven myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I can say, I'm sorry, I have an appointment after work, I can't work on
Just
this.
say appointment. Don't over-explain.
Oh, please don't
appointment.
don't go to detail. You have an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got to say what you want.
Exactly.
But just learn when to say no, when to say yes. If it's during your busy season and the whole team is working till 11, read the room.
Read the room.
It might be an emergency. If that's an emergency, okay, but please read the room. If you just want to go home and chill that day, there's some days where it's like being a part of that team spirit of being like, okay, we're all doing this does help show team rapport. So just read the room on whenever you're trying to leave early.
Yeah.
But also it's like, set boundaries for yourself, and if you feel like something is threatening your work-life balance, make sure to speak up about it.
Speak up.
Because for me personally, like when I was going into my second rotation, the team like that's running us had met with each of us individually and was like, what are you looking for in your next role? Like, do you know what you want to do? And you know me, type A, I had already talked and networked with everyone in the other divisions I wanted to meet with and I wanted to move to. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I gave a first, second, and third option.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to do this team because of this, Y, X, Y, Z. I'll grow, I'll learn, whatever. This team, this is why. 13, this is why. When I got my offer back, it was in a completely different, like not even remotely I was actually in supply chain.
Oh, wow.
Supply chain finance. And I said,
I didn't ask for that.
I don't do that. And I said, I did not ask for that. I have no experience in it. And it's just also the office I would be at was like 2 hours away. And I said, I don't have a car out here. I remember freaking out. I remember calling my mentor, aka my last boss. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I just genuinely feel like this would tear my work-life balance apart, commuting 2 hours both ways. 2 hours there, 2 hours back. I would literally have had to take a shuttle from where I live. I would have to commute into the city, into New York City, and then take a shuttle an hour and a half back into Jersey.
Oh my gosh.
Every day. I said I knew that it would literally tear my work-life balance apart. I'd be stressed out.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's enough that I already commute from Jersey to New York. Like, that's already taken a toll on me. I just knew this would do a lot. And I remember freaking out because it was the first time I had to actually speak up for myself and be like, I feel like this is not a good pick for me. So I went to my mentor and he was like, listen, whether or not you can perform is based on how comfortable you are.
Yeah.
If you do not feel comfortable with this, you need to say something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, but I just feel like grateful that I even got the second offer. Like, I feel like I can't rock the boat. Everyone else is already okay with theirs. Like, everyone's content.
Yeah.
And they're telling me, like, we chose you to do this because, you know, we think that you have a great personality and you'll be the most able to fit into this role. And for me, I was like, that's kind of like, okay, we know you won't complain, is what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
And I said, that's not gonna work. And I set up a follow-up meeting and I said, listen, I appreciate it, but I said, this genuinely does not work for my lifestyle. I think I will literally be going through it. If the team seems great, I love the opportunity.
Thank you.
But I was just like, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, like, well, we're glad you spoke up about it. We're glad you said something.
Facts.
The next day they found me at my new role.
Love. Yeah.
And I was like, had I not said anything, I would have been commuting. And this would have been over the winter time too. I was like, I would have been commuting 4 hours total to work.
Absolutely not.
And
By
I
the
just
time you
said
get
that's it's slow for that.
Yeah.
So please speak up on situations like that where you know your work-life balance will be affected. Don't just say yes because it's a job. If you have a little bit of leverage, you've been there. I was like, I've been here for a year. I've done good work. Like, I can now be a little bit picky on what works for me, especially since it was nothing of what I had listed that I was interested in.
Facts.
So
this last question says, how long do you stay at your job? How long do you stay at your first job out of college just because the pay is good before you really find the job you want?
2 years.
Yeah. Get some experience underneath your belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least a year if you can, push it to 2.
Yeah. And also you can save up because that next job, especially if it's not in the same company, you might be taking a pay cut just to be a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Save some money. Get that emergency fund up
Yeah.
if you can.
2 years sucks, but it's like my manager said you can do anything for a year.
2 years is going to pass anyway. You might as well make that money and then move to, and you might end up actually liking it.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of times it is a red flag if people leave their companies. Like if they're just hopping every single year,
Yeah.
that's not exactly the best green flag.
Mhm.
So I would say at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Someone else, I had asked on my story, like, what are some things people wish they knew? Someone said you just have to be okay with people assuming things about you. Be mysterious. It's best.
Yeah. I feel like this was definitely like personal to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't think I've ever had somebody be like, oh, I'm assuming this about you because I didn't met everybody. I know how many kids you have. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like this might be a little bit struggling, you know? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I haven't had that happen, but I think like especially if you're black and you're the only black person in the workplace,
Yeah.
it can get very much like, oh, like they kind of have a expectation for what you will do.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's like if you don't meet that, it's like now you're not a team player or now you're like not working well with the team when in reality you're probably just minding your own business and quiet.
Exactly. But if you've been there for a year, you have already hopefully done your due diligence of like, I'm a good worker. Y'all can't say nothing about me.
Yeah.
So really go ham. If we could say, if you don't get anything else from the episode,
Work hard.
go
push
ham in
yourself
the first
work.
year.
Yeah.
In that first year, it's okay to put in those extra hours.
The work will speak for itself.
Speak for itself. Because now I'm in my second year, about to be my second year, and I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Like
That builds confidence.
yeah, when you hear Faith Craig, you don't think anything else because I've done this, that, and the third, and my director knows. Everybody knows.
Yep. Someone said if you're an introvert, you quickly realize how much being a people person gets you places. Woo! Talk about it, sister.
Yeah.
Ah, God, it's hard, especially if you just get drained with physical interactions.
Mhm.
Like for me, it might not seem like it, but I am an introvert and I really get drained by just talking to people sometimes. Like I enjoy the presence, but at the end of the day, I need to go home and be alone and decompress and then try it again in the morning.
Yeah.
If you are the type of person where it's like, oh my God, I do want to put myself out there, but it's just very hard for me to talk to people all the time. Like Imani mentioned in her episode, just give yourself mini missions. Like, you know what? Today I'm gonna talk to that person. I don't really know them well, but I'm gonna ask them if they want to go get lunch.
Yep.
And just make that your little small missions. I started doing that, and it really was so much easier than just being like, I'm gonna network with every single person near me. That's overwhelming. If you are an introvert, please take baby steps and just give yourself small little things to do. That way you just start building your confidence.
Yeah.
Because now everyone knows me as being a social butterfly, L'Oreal, and it didn't start like that. Like,
Yeah.
it was really me faking it till I make it and being like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that.
Mm-hmm.
And the mass majority of people really kind of don't do that. So
Yeah,
if
no.
you just make an effort.
You're going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Oh, yeah. And then you start getting pulled for things. And
Mhm.
I feel like, especially if you want to put yourself out there, find like a social project or like something team building related that you can sign your name to.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my first year, I remember there was this little quiz I took when I was in DECA. It was called the 5 Voices. And I loved it. I was like, oh, this helps so much with like team building. It was like a personality test.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh, like, you know, we want to know what voice you are on a team. Are you the connector? Are you the nurturer? Like, you know, like what type of role do you play on a team?
Mhm.
And I remember my goal for 1 week was to go to my manager and be like, hey, I think we should take this quiz as a team. I think it could be a cool team bonding activity. So he was like, why stop there? Let's bring it to our VP, the head of our department. Let's see if we can make it a division-wide thing.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, that wasn't my intention. And I was like, okay. He was
Yeah.
like, set up a meeting on her calendar and introduce this concept, or build a deck,
Mm-hmm.
introduce this to her, and see what she thinks. So that little mission turned into a bigger mission.
Yeah.
Now I'm setting up this whole deck about I became a 5 Voices expert, girl. I didn't know that
good.
much about 5 Voices in my life.
Yeah.
I'd already read the book. I went all out. I built this deck. She was like, I literally love this. This is right up my alley. You're going to present this at our town hall.
Oh.
So that mission turned into a bigger mission.
Yeah.
And then I was like an MT presenting at our town hall.
Yeah. Which is like
And-
unheard of.
Yeah. And they were like, she was like, we need to focus on this more. Like, we are a finance department, we work on the numbers, but in reality, like, how are we as a team? We don't know each other. Like, let's work on that. Let's make sure the teams feel like they actually know who they're working with. So from there, it became that. And then they were like, okay, like, we're going to continue this. Like, each town hall, give an update, give teams initiatives on what they can do. I'm meeting with the heads of each team and being like, hey guys, like, how are you working on your voice? I've made a map. I'm like, these voices are good at this. These voices are good at that. And it turned into a whole project, all because I was like, my mission for this week is to do this.
Yeah.
And then from there, that VP was tapping me on other things. She's like, I know you got a podcast. She asked me to help start a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, we're going to start a podcast for the division. And that turned into a whole project. And these were all things outside of my role, but it was like, I realized what I was good at. And I was like, I'm good at organizing things. I'm good at getting people together. And I'm good at my job. But I can use those skills in other ways.
Yeah.
So from there, that's how it turned into, for one, the 5 Voices town hall thing. I gave it to somebody else to continue once I left that role. I'm bringing it to my new role. And then with the podcast, they were like, yeah, we want to make this a L'Oreal-wide thing. So we're just going to go with it. Yeah. So if you have an idea, do not be afraid to bring it up. If it's not related to your job title, who cares? Fine. Like, they just want fun ideas to make people like work.
Exactly. And I don't think we ever touched on this, but make sure you have a mentor that can like help you in your day-to-day job. Like, hey, I don't really know this Excel formula. Can you help me? But also a mentor, if it's a different person, it could be the same person or a different person. You don't feel comfortable going to your manager about this, but corporate wise, I don't understand. Can you help me about this 401k? Can you help me navigate this conversation that I have to have with the director? Or I'm looking for a new job, but I don't know how to navigate that. Do you have any open recs you've seen around? And that's how I got my new role. I have several different mentors for different reasons. Just because I'm like, I don't want to pigeonhole any mentor. Just like I keep on going to them. But mentorship is the key.
And having one that will push you outside of your comfort zone. Because had my first manager and mentor not been like, great idea, but we can take it a step further.
Yeah.
I know this is uncomfortable, but you're going to have to learn how to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Had they not done that, I probably would have been in that same position.
Exactly.
So have someone that will literally tell you straight, find the most honest person.
And you kind of have to kind of figure it out. You have to,
And figure out what you can handle. Because I'm not going to lie, feelings can be hurt sometimes.
But it's for the betterment of you.
Yeah, they wouldn't say that if they didn't see potential in you.
Exactly. And it's hard, but they know what they know, and they didn't get there from not being knowledgeable. You see what I'm saying?
And that's how you build your reputation. Like, my other mentor was like, find 3 words you want people to say when they think about you. And she said, and start everything you do in meetings, everything you say, make sure it aligns with those 3 words.
Exactly.
And I was like, damn. Oh, she was like, don't be known as like, oh, someone that's timid or small in a meeting, because guess what? When they ask about you, that's what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
She was like, are you smart? Yes. Are you strong? Yes. Make sure when you come into meetings, if you're good at organizing and note taking, don't even let them guess. Tell them.
Yeah.
Come into the meeting with your notepad. Don't mind me, guys. Sorry, I just love taking notes.
Yeah.
They will remember that. Like, it'll be a subconscious thing where they're like, okay, I know she's organized.
Yeah.
Like, just literally tell it to them straight so they don't have to guess.
Yeah, but you guys, that was 2 years in corporate.
We learned a lot.
We learned a lot. We learned a whole lot. Definitely DM us personally if you have any analyst questions, any Cisco L'Oreal questions, anything questions. We would love. We love being the big sisters. We love that. We love that title.
We're big sisters, and we really didn't have many people to show us and tell us these things. I mean, and honestly, in corporate, you're gonna learn on your own anyway. But,
exactly.
Yeah, I wish somebody would have told us that.
Exactly. But
so hopefully this helps.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to season 9, and we'll see you guys next season.
Season 10.
Yes. Bye.
Oh my God.
Okay, I've been having to go.